You're listening to Real Talk Texas on 570 KLIF News and Information. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert Steve Hakes.
Welcome to Real Talk Texas. I'm your host, Steve Hakes, and it's great to be back. Had a nice little vacation with my wife, Dana, last week. We went down to Destin, Florida, and I was fortunate enough to have Alicia Trevino come in and sub-hit for me, or pinch hit for me. And Alicia's a great realtor, and she gives some really good insight. I listened to the show last week, and she and KP did a great job of talking about downtown Dallas and uptown area and things like that, and some of the great values. I was really surprised when I was listening, some of the great things that some gems that she's able to pull out of that market. So if you're in need to find a place in the uptown area, make sure you reach out to Alicia Trevino of Century 21 in Uptown. And today we're going to talk about my wheelhouse again in the mortgage market. And I'd like to share some information about what's going on in the real estate and mortgage market in North Texas. And we're starting a new thing here. We're going to team up with MetroTex Association of Realtors, and they are a great resource for the realtors that are out there. If you're talking to your real estate agent, or if you need a real estate agent, I'm going to give you some information about how to find a really good one from MetroTex Association of Realtors. They're the largest in North Texas, probably one of the best ones out there that I've dealt with, as far as providing data, information, things like that realtors need to really do a good job for you, the consumer. So they provided some market insight, and hopefully they'll be providing this each week so that our listeners can really stay in tune with what's going on in our marketplace, in the real estate market, on a weekly basis here. So let's start right now. In the DFW market, we're experiencing some extraordinary real estate activity, and I think you've heard some of the real estate agents we've had on the show. You've heard me talk about what's happening. It's really flipped to a seller's market. And there's some strategies that we're going to share with you on the show today about how to take advantage of that as a seller and how to take advantage of that as a buyer. But during the first quarter numbers are just in. In the first quarter of 2013, home prices were up 8% over 2012. Now, wait a minute. 8% over 2012. I've been in this business a long time, since 1999. In North Texas, we haven't seen appreciation of home values of more than 5% a year. That's been kind of like the mainstay. Everybody talks about how steady our market is. We don't have this ebb and flow. But if you're also a regular listener, you heard me predict that I think we're in for extraordinary times in North Texas. You're seeing a lot of building. We're seeing a lack of inventory. We're seeing a lot of people moving here because we're a great state to work in, and there's a lot of jobs. I really think that we're going to see home values go up dramatically, and here's evidence of it already, 8% in the first quarter. So let's just say, for example, you've got a home that was even just $100,000. You just made $8,000 on your house in the last quarter. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not making that in my stock accounts right now. So we'll talk about that, and as far as being an investor, too, later on in the show today. Also, home sales were up 19% over 2012. Homes are selling at almost 25% faster in 2012 year to date, first quarter. So what it comes from is days on the market. Realtors use a system called the MLS system, and they can track how many days a home's been on the marketplace. So they're moving 25% faster with price increases. A lot of times you would think you'd see a faster market if prices were dropping, but we're seeing just the opposite here. So we need to pay attention to the marketplace today. It's pretty exciting for us. So what does all this mean to you as a North Texas consumer? It means the housing market's experiencing a complete turnaround from last year. Homes that have been updated with amenities are going under contract in less than 10 days in many areas. Low levels of inventory have created a very competitive market, meaning homes with appealing values and appealing areas. They're updated. We've talked about that, how to get your house sold quickly. Make sure you come in, you paint new carpet, new flooring, some simple things. Make sure it's decluttered. Make sure that your yard looks good. You got good curb appeal. And that house is going to sell at top dollar fast in today's marketplace. And we're seeing multiple offers. We're being reported back from our realtors, multiple offers almost immediately when those type of homes go on sale. The housing demand means that if you're in the market to purchase a home, or even if you need to keep a few things in mind, okay? And I'm going to share with you some of the things I can do for you as far as making sure that you're able to make that home purchase. We're seeing, I've had some pre-qualified buyers out there that are getting pretty frustrated. Talked to a gal last week, and she said they placed 3 offers on 3 homes in the last 2 weeks, and they had multiple offers, and they didn't take their offer. So we came up with a strategy, which I'll share with you later in the show, how to make sure your offer's accepted over somebody else. And there's some pretty cool stories about different techniques that people are using. They're getting creative out there to get their offer accepted over someone else's. So first, you need to make sure when you're thinking about becoming a buyer, going out in the marketplace, a lot of people, the first place they turn is the internet. They start searching sites. I like Realtor.com. They have a really good iPhone app or Android app that you can download. It's tied to the MLS, so it's a little more accurate than maybe from what I can see. It seems to be a little more updated than some of the other websites out there or some of the apps that are available for you when you're searching. It's really cool because when you're in a neighborhood, you can be driving through a neighborhood. And I think the days of having flyers out in front of a house or things like that you need so you can see, my wife and I were driving around looking for homes and say, I wonder what that costs. Well, you can just pull up Realtor.com, look in your on your iPhone, and it'll tell you exactly what the listing price is, if it's been lowered in price, raised in price, how many days it's been on the market. All those things are readily available to you if you've got a smartphone. So the technology's better for us. The other thing the next thing that I think people should do, and I highly recommend it, because if you try to make an offer in today's marketplace and you don't have realtor representation, you're going to have a much more difficult time getting that seller to accept your offer. So I highly, highly recommend that you find a professional, a realtor, to help you find the right home, because we're all busy. These people will work for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. A buyer's representative doesn't cost the buyer anything. Basically, they're there. The seller pays them to bring you to them. So there's no cost involved for it. So you should really think hard about, you can do your initial research, but make sure you research also a buyer's agent. And when I say that, when I say research them, I think you should interview a few of them. Make sure they click. Make sure you see that they're listening to what you're looking for, and they'll help manage your time better. And they'll only show you properties that they feel match up with what your needs are. So let them go to work for you. That's one of the key things right away, because you could waste a lot of time going around looking at homes that really don't fit your need. There's other things that we need to talk about today as well. Talk about how to be effective when you're going out to buy, how to make sure that you've got yourself lined up as far as your money and your approval, so that your buyer, your contract that goes out there to that seller is something that really gets their attention, and they feel confident you're able to close in today's market. Stay tuned. You're listening to KLIF AM 570, News and Information. This is the Real Talk Texas Show. I'm Steve Hakes. We're going to share a lot of information about how to buy a home in a hot market like we have right now, and also what to do when you're listing your house to make sure that you're prepared to make the next move as well. So stay tuned.